Hello, and welcome to Care Plus Live. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around 11:30 a.m. This week's theme has been connection, and today's message is brought to you by Lorelle. Lorelle started as a screener for 262 Help in 2006 and currently serves as our Vice President of Hospital and Community Services. She's a clinical supervisor that everybody loves and oversees the training and development of our staff. So I'm going to ask Lorelle to take it from here and share her message on connection.
Hi, Caitlin. Good morning. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank and express our deepest gratitude to our first responders and essential employees. You truly are our heroes during this national crisis. And with that, today I did want to talk a bit about the importance of recognizing the impact that this is having on our first responders and how difficult this has been for everybody. In particular, people dealing directly with this pandemic. The day in and day out of this has been really rough. So the topic that Caitlin asked me to talk about today is self-compassion. So let's start with what we know. Logically, we all know, we've heard the saying that nobody's perfect, right? And logically, we do know that we can't be good at everything. We're not perfect. Sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes we fail at things. And while we may know that here, at times we don't feel that way. We may have difficulty accepting that about ourselves. We may feel that we are inadequate, that we're failures. And now we take a life and death situation that we're grappling with, and that could make that even more exacerbated, some of those feelings. So Caitlin, let me ask you, how often do you hear people like putting themselves down or saying things that are not good about themselves?
I feel like that's the norm. Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, Caitlin, you're muted.
Yes. Well, I feel like it's almost the norm. People think that way and talk that way all the time. You know, they might say, oh, I'm so stupid, or I'm being really overreactive, or am I annoying you right now? Like that, people are always fearful they're in the wrong. You know, I get that a lot.
So I hear people beating themselves up when they make a mistake, or I'm just not good at that. You know, I just stink at that. Or I'm a horrible person, I'll hear sometimes. And look, we all do it sometimes, but it's, you know, I call it the 80-20 rule. So 80% we should be saying good things about ourselves, and every so often the bad things kind of slip in. But in some ways it is a disconnect between what we know and kind of like what we feel. Rationally, we know we are not these like almighty, omnipotent people, but sometimes the heart feels differently, and we feel pain and disappointment when things just don't go perfectly, right?
So what, like, Lorelle, I'm like that too, you know, like I say, I'm recovering perfectionist. So what is it? Why are we like that? What makes us feel that way?
You just said one of the things that I was going to say, which is we are perfectionists, many of us, right? So our expectation is here, and then this is what we do. Because we can't do this on everything, like just realistically, who is up here for every single thing? So it's called managing your expectations, because sometimes we're going to deliver here. And then there's some other things that I've noticed with individuals I work with. So let's say that you've always been given the message, negative messages about you. So either about your skills or your character. So let's say your whole life you've been told, you stink at math, Caitlin. You just stink. Your whole life you've been told that. Do you think that you're going to pursue a career in finance or accounting?
No way.
Probably not. Now, taking that to a deeper level, what if you were told you're bad, you're a horrible person, you're a bad wife, you're a terrible mother? After a while, we start to believe things sometimes, not all the time, of what people tell us. So, and then it becomes our own little routine with ourselves. That's another reason that people might start to have those negative messages. And lastly, sometimes people are suffering from depression or anxiety or added stress, which might, it might affect their self-esteem, which might also contribute to that.
So, like, what if people kind of notice that about themselves? What can we do to start to notice or break that pattern?
Good question. So that brings us to self-compassion. So, what is self-compassion? If you look on the internet or research it, there are so many clinical definitions of self-compassion. And there's books on it, the whole thing. In layman's terms, this is the Lorelle theory, it's just treating yourself the way you would treat somebody that you love dearly if they made a mistake or they failed or something didn't go right? So very often I'll have an individual sitting with me and they will be beating themselves up about, let me give you an example. I'm a student, I'm in college and I failed a test and I'm stupid and I didn't do it right. And they just sit there and beat themselves up over it. And, we'll spend a whole session on it. And I will ask, okay, how would you respond to one of your best friends if that happened to them? Caitlin, what would you say to one of your dearest friends if they failed a test?
I mean, first, the grade isn't your value, right? So try to immediately break the way they're identifying with that. But I'd want to do anything to make them feel better. Be like, you're not stupid, that you could always study. This could be a learning opportunity, but I'd want to make them feel better.
Right. So I'll say the same thing. So I'll say that to the individual I'm sitting with. Well, what would you say to your friend? I'll say something similar to what you just said. And I'll say, now say that to yourself.
Right.
Sounds so simple. It's not. And it's not simple because it's a bad habit. So think of any habit you've had. Smoking, overeating, we have many of them. And think about trying to break it. It's not that simple. Mm-hmm. So this is very similar to having a very bad habit. And we have to get to the root of it and figure out what started the habit and all of that. But we do need to break the habit. Is it good to break the habit? Studies show that individuals who engage with self-compassion they show decreased depression, decreased anxiety and stress. They have a higher degree of emotional resilience, higher self-esteem, and in general, they're just happier because they're being easy on themselves when things don't go right. So who wouldn't be happier?
Yeah.
So what can you do to get started? All right, it's different for everybody. But the same way, if a friend came to you and was struggling, you might say, do something really kind for yourself today. Mm-hmm. So if I said to you, Caitlin, you were having a rough day, I might say, I know a little bit about, why don't you go meditate, Caitlin, mm-hmm. or go work on your plants, because I see your beautiful plants in the background there. Mm-hmm. That I know is something you enjoy and love doing. Mm-hmm. For me, I love listening to music. That's something that comforts me. So for yourself, if you're having a really bad day, do something that comforts you. Mm-hmm. Treat yourself to something that really makes you feel good. And it is unique to each person. I know I have some friends who really enjoy cooking. I'd rather be gardening. So whatever it is that makes you particularly feel good. Other things is, some people find it's valuable to actually wake up every day and write down what they're grateful for. And you can even take that a step further and write down, here's what I'm good at, and here's what is special about me. Just to really reinforce what is unique and wonderful about you. Start building up those positive statements about yourself. And lastly, some people also get stuck with not being able to forgive themselves for something, for a mistake they've made. They get so stuck. And I will suggest looking themselves in the mirror and just saying, I forgive you. You made a mistake, and I forgive you for that. The same way you would forgive a best friend or a family member who hurt you in some way. So those are just some ideas. There's many. You can research it online. And again, My Strength has some really great tools in there to get started, which Caitlin, I know you will direct folks to. And just in summary, remember, you're not alone in this. We're all in this together. Give yourself permission to make mistakes and to take some risks and make mistakes. We all fail sometimes. And just remember to be kind to yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lorelle. That was, I know I needed to hear that. I'm so lucky that, I get to hear these great talks with everybody, but I know everybody needs to hear that. Everybody needs a reminder, like, you're enough, you've done enough, relax. So thank you. Right, breathe. So thank you, Lorelle. And as Lorelle started and mentioned at the beginning of the video, for those on the front lines, our heroes, we're here for you. You'll hear today we're rolling out our special warm line for those on the front line. And because we are the certified community behavioral health clinic for Bergen County, we're able to provide services free of charge to those heroes on the front line. So we're here for you, we're gonna be here, and we look forward to working with you to support you through these times. And for everybody listening, in this post, you'll see our admissions number, our hours of operations, and a link to a great activity in My Strength with the access code. If you have any questions, please be in touch. And if not, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. And thank you again, Lorelle.
Bye.